I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If the clerk would call the roll, please.
Justin Shu.
Present.
John Vajezi.
Here.
Byron Shabazz.
Present.
Dave Dorset.
Present.
Ashley Katz.
Here.
Don Wynn.
Here.
Dennis Moon.
Here.
7 present.
We have a quorum. Thank you. Citizens wishing to address the City Council on matters germane to the agenda of tonight's meeting will be limited to 3 minutes and are asked to be brief and concise in making their remarks. Comments submitted by mail or email will not be read aloud, but a copy will be provided to each member of the council and made a part of the minutes of this meeting. Does anyone wish to speak to the council or the public comment section of our agenda this evening? Already hearing none, council, before you is the consent agenda. Motion is in order.
Motion to adopt is presented. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Shu.
Aye.
Vajezi.
Aye.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Katz.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Under unfinished business, item number 1, consideration of an ordinance to create a Class V liquor license for Maximilians Incorporated at 1414 East Jackson Street here in Macomb. This ordinance had first reading on August 19th, and this will be second reading.
Thank you. Maximilians Incorporated has filed an application requesting the creation of a Class V liquor license at its location at 1414 East Jackson Street here in Macomb. Upon receipt of the application, a public hearing was scheduled for August 19th, 2024. Record owners within 250 feet of the subject property were provided written notice of the public hearing. Notice was published in the community news brief and a sign was posted at the subject property. A background investigation of the principals has been conducted by the Macomb Police Department, and a resident manager background will also be conducted. At this time, there are no issues from a law enforcement perspective to prevent the creation or issuance of the license. And if adopted, the ordinance would approve the creation of a Class V liquor license for the premises located at 1414 East Jackson Street, Macomb, Illinois, for Maximilians Incorporated.
That'll stand as second reading. Motion is in order.
Motion to approve creation of the Class V liquor license for Maximilians Incorporated at 11414 East Jackson Street. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt an ordinance to create the license. Any discussion? We would note for the record that the petitioners are present at tonight's meeting. Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Vajezi.
Aye.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Katz.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
Shu.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 2, consideration of an ordinance to create a Class V liquor license for Maximilians Incorporated at a second location at 528 West Jackson Street in Macomb. This too had first reading at the council meeting on the 19th of August. This will be second reading.
Thank you. Maximilians has filed an application requesting a creation of a Class V liquor license for the location at 528 West Jackson Street, Macomb, Illinois. Upon receipt of the application, a public hearing was scheduled for August 19th, 2024. Record owners within 250 feet of the subject property were provided written notice of the hearing. Notice was provided by publication in the community news brief and a sign posted at the property. Background investigation of the principals was conducted, and a background of the resident manager will also be conducted. At this time, there are no issues from a law enforcement perspective to prevent the creation or issuance of the license. There was a phone call concern with regard to this property regarding parking. However, parking has been reviewed by the Office of Community Development. If adopted, the ordinance would approve the creation of a Class V liquor license for the premises located at 528 West Jackson Street for Maximilians Incorporated.
Thank you. That'll stand as second reading. Motion is in order.
Make a motion to create a Class V liquor license for Maximilian Incorporated at 528 West Jackson Street.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the ordinance to create the license at the location. Any discussion? And again, I would note for the record that the petitioners are present at the meeting this evening. Hearing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Katz.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
Shu.
Aye.
Vajezi.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 3, consideration of ordinance amending section 17854 of the Macomb Municipal Code pertaining to the off-street parking requirements. This ordinance had first reading on the 19th of August. This will be second reading.
Thank you. The city is authorized to adopt appropriate ordinances and regulations concerning lot use within the city. The Community Development Director has recommended an amendment to Section 17-854 pertaining to the requirements of front yard parking. The proposed amendment received the concurrence of the Community Development Committee, and if adopted, the ordinance would indicate that council desires to concur with that recommendation and amend Section 17-854 as provided in the attached Exhibit A, which removes subparagraphs 4 and 6 of paragraph E of that section.
Thank you. That'll stand as second reading. Motion is in order.
Make a motion to amend Section 17-854 of the Macomb Municipal Code pertaining to off-street parking requirements.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adopt the ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Dorset,
Aye.
Katz. Aye. Wynn,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Shu,
Aye.
Vajezi,
Aye.
Shabazz.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Council, without objection, we'd like to remove item number 4 for your consideration this evening. There are some ongoing, very positive negotiations that are just about wrapped up, and we'll take up that action on new business item number 5. There is no other unfinished business this evening. Then moving on to new business, item number 1, consideration of an ordinance approving the First Amendment to a lease agreement with Spiritcom LLC. Copy of the ordinance is attached. This will be first reading.
Thank you. The city has real property located on Randolph Street where a water tower has been constructed. IPCS Wireless Incorporated previously requested to lease a portion of that property, and a lease agreement was executed on or about August 23rd, 2002. That lease agreement provided for an initial term of 5 years with an option to renew for 4 additional 5-year terms, with the last term ending in 2027. Sprintcom LLC is the successor to IPCS Wireless and has a desire to extend that lease agreement. If adopted, the ordinance would allow the execution of the First Amendment to lease agreement between the city and Sprintcom LLC, and would authorize the mayor to execute that amendment, which is attached as Exhibit A to the ordinance.
Thank you. That'll stand as first reading. We'll place that on for further discussion at next week's Committee of the Whole. Item number 2, consideration of an ordinance amending portions of Chapter 4 concerning alcoholic beverages within the City of Macomb's Municipal Code. A copy of the ordinance is attached to your packet, and this will be first reading.
Thank you. The city is authorized by the Illinois Liquor Control Act to establish regulations and restrictions upon the issuance of and operations of local liquor licenses for the sale of retail alcoholic liquor. The mayor and city attorney are recommending for consideration amendments to Chapter 4 that are set forth in the attached exhibits. If adopted, the ordinance does in fact allow the amendments to Chapter 4 as set forth in the exhibits attached to the ordinance.
Thank you. That'll stand as first reading. We'll place that on for further discussion at next week's Committee of the Whole as well. Item number 3, consideration of an ordinance to authorize the issuance of a special use permit to allow front yard parking in an R1 single-family zoning district at 121 Curling Drive here in the city. A copy of that ordinance is also in your packet, and this will be first reading.
Thank you. John and Amy Miller have filed an application requesting a special use permit authorizing front yard parking at 121 Curling Drive here in Macomb. Upon receipt of the application, the Office of Community Development scheduled a public hearing for August 28th, 2024, served written notices of that public hearing, published notice of the public hearing in the community news brief, and posted a sign at the subject property. On August 28th, 2024, the Planning Commission did hold that public hearing and voted 8-0 to grant the special use permit as and recommends that City Council approve the permit as well, contingent upon the surface being made compliant with the Macomb Municipal Code within 6 months of granting the permit. If adopted, the ordinance does authorize the issuance of the special use permit with that condition.
Thank you. That'll stand as first reading on that, and we'll have that on for further consideration and discussion at next week's Committee of the Whole. Item number 4, consideration of an ordinance to authorize the issuance of a special use permit to allow front yard parking in an R1 single-family zoning district at 127 Curling Drive here in the city of Macomb. A copy of that ordinance is in your packet. This will be first reading.
And I would also indicate that I provided an updated copy of that ordinance this evening. The updated copy indicates that Lawrence and Catherine Taylor have applied and requested a special use permit authorizing front yard parking at 127 Curling Drive. Upon receipt of the application, we scheduled a public hearing with the Planning Commission for August 28th, 2004, served written notice of that public hearing, provided publication in the community news brief, and posted a sign at the subject property. On August 28th, 2024, Planning Commission did hold the public hearing and voted 8-0 to grant the special use permit, and recommends that council approve the same upon condition that the surface be made compliant with the municipal code within 6 months of granting the permit. And if adopted, the ordinance does authorize the issuance of that special use permit with that condition.
Thank you. That'll stand as first reading. We'll place that on next Monday's Committee of the Whole agenda for further discussion. And item number 5 is what we're referring to under item number 4 under unfinished business. We'd ask for your consideration to authorize to give yourselves a power to act at next week's Committee of the Whole meeting on specifically on September 9th regarding a letter of intent between the city and Pivot Energy and an accompanying ordinance that is consistent with that letter of intent.
Motion to authorize Committee of the Whole power to act at September 9th, 2024 meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Lisa, do you want to go over any timeline here as what we're trying to accomplish? Just briefly.
In what respect?
Well, this is obviously something that's been lingering since June. We've had some very diligent negotiations between city staff, my office, the MADCO director, and we believe we have a letter of intent on its way that will move this project forward. So,
Sure. Some of the details in there involve, they made some modifications to the site plan, addressing some of the concerns of aldermen as well as staff. There also is a provision that would allow the frontage area of that parcel to be conveyed to MADCO that satisfies the concerns that were raised in terms of development. And that property would also likely be subject to an annexation agreement with the city of Macomb, so that if and when it becomes contiguous, we could annex that to the city. That's important from a development perspective. If there is some commercial development, it's extremely important to the city to have that property within our boundaries.
thank you, Lisa. With that in mind, any further discussion tonight? Alderman Dorsett.
Just like to thank city staff, the mayor, and, Ms. Pierce from MADCO, and the folks at Pivot Energy and the Brown family for working together on this. It's could have been, one of those stop and just not move things, and I think it's going to really work out for everybody involved.
Very good, thank you. Anyone else? No further discussion, roll call, please.
Wynn,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Shu,
Aye.
Vajezi,
Aye.
Shabazz,
Aye.
Dorset,
Aye.
Katz. Aye. All ayes.
Motion carried, thank you. Item number 6, consideration to authorize the Public Works Operations Division to seek bids for an equipment supply shed at the street department. There's a memorandum in your packet from the operations manager, Mr. Whitford, and he's here to go over that for us just briefly. Brad, please.
It's in consideration of seeking bids for an addition to one of our sheds. Just looking, we're running out of space, storage space. Would like to go bigger, but just a 17 by 30 addition, concrete floor, one 10 by 12 roll-up door. Will get us at least one pickup, our bore vac, valve machine, possibly, in storage.
Any questions for Brad? I think maybe when I use the word shed, it tends to sound like somebody's backyard with a 2x4 stuck around it. But no, this is we're looking for a significant improvement to the operations building out there. Alderman Moon, did you have a question, sir?
No.
No. Anyone else? Alderman Vijay.
Just a quick note, this was already included within the budget for this year, so there's no additional funds.
Yes. Within the 120,000, this would be part of it.
Yep, okay, thank you.
We'd entertain a motion to authorize the solicitation of bids for the improvements at the operations building.
Make a motion to authorize Public Works Operations Division to seek a bid for emergency equipment shed in the street department.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Moon,
Aye.
Shu. Aye. Vijezi.
Aye.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Katz. Aye. Wynn.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. And Brad, you got the next item as well. Consideration to authorize the Public Works Operation Division to seek bids for replacement HVAC system at the street department. Your memo's pretty short and to the sweet and to the point. Is there any questions for Brad regarding what they're proposing here? This too is a budgeted item. We'd entertain a motion to authorize solicitation of those bids.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to authorize the solicitation of bids for HVAC improvements at the street department. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Shu.
Aye.
Vijezi.
Aye.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Katz. Aye. Wynn.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the hard work your folks have been doing this summer.
Thank you. I will try to answer any questions with the following the best I can too.
No, we'll work together on it, so. yeah,
Okay.
You can't leave yet.
Item number 8, consideration to authorize the award of bid to Lavender Construction Incorporated for the CDBG, that's a Community Development Block Grant Water Main Replacement, Phase 5, in the amount of $1,799,515. There is a memorandum in your packet from the Public Works Director, but she's not available with us this evening. Mr. Coker, could you run that for us,
Sure.
please?
So as you're all aware, we've been doing several CDBG projects. So we received $1.5 million in grant funds from this. We had $200,000 budgeted. That's the $1.7 million budgeted. We would pull the remaining $99,515 from the water fund. They have some available funds there. We'd like to proceed with the project. It's replacing old cast iron mains that are in bad shape, so majority of this is grant funded.
Thanks. Any questions for Scott regarding the CDBG grant Phase 5? Hearing none, we'd entertain a motion to award the bid to Lavender Construction in the amount of $1,799,515.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion at all? Do we have, where's this located at in the city? Do you know off the top of your head? We got lots.
There's a couple areas, some up at Orchard and Avery Stadium. Move back down here to Memorial.
Okay. Northwest and southeast parts of town.
Correct.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Vijezi.
Aye.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Katz. Aye. Wynn.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
Shu.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 9, consideration to adopt a resolution for an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Macomb and the Macomb Community Unit District Number 185. There's a resolution in your packet. I'd ask the city attorney if she'd read that into the record, please.
Certainly. Under the Illinois Constitution, units of government are permitted to share in the provision of services. The City of Macomb and the Board of Education of the Macomb Community Unit School District Number 185 desire to share resources for the benefit of the students and the citizens of the city. We are authorized, as I mentioned, under the Constitution as well as the Illinois Intergovernmental Cooperation Act to execute the agreement. If adopted, the resolution provides that council would adopt the intergovernmental agreement, which is attached as Exhibit A. The primary substance of that agreement is to allow our police officers to provide some additional security services at Macomb High School events, particularly home basketball games and football games for the 24-25 school year, with the school district providing reimbursement for those salary costs.
Thank you. Would entertain a motion to adopt that resolution.
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded to adopt the resolution between the city and Macomb Unit School District 185. Any discussion on it at all? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Katz. Wynn.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
Shu.
Aye.
Vajezi.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 10, consideration to authorize a transfer of funds from the downtown East Side TIF district for demolition in the amount of $100,000. There's a memorandum in your packet from the Community Development Director, Ms. Lambert. And Miranda, could you go over that, what we're planning to do here, please?
Yes, good evening, everyone. So our Strong Communities Fast Track Demolition window opened on August 10th. So through the Strong Communities program, we are able to demo and this round also rehab houses. They are for residential properties, and everyone's currently listed as a residential on their property line. But two of those locations, the 310 East Carroll Street and 202 West Carroll Street, had prior history as a commercial property. So we're currently working with IDA to see if that is something that they will allow to be approved through this program for demolition. Unfortunately, it's a number of factors they're going to consider, and because this is such a tight window, not necessarily optimistic that that's going to get pushed through, and we have 90 days to move forward with this action. So looking at other opportunities to be able to take down those properties to use them for what we see fit, we're looking to take funding from our East TIF fund, which these are TIF eligible expenses, to demo those properties to be able to move forward with them.
Very good, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Lambert? This had discussion at a Community Development Committee meeting last week, excuse me, and we are under a bit of a time constraint here to move forward with this so we get the funds expended within the grant timeline. We'd entertain a motion to authorize that transfer of funds from the downtown East Side TIF to accommodate the demolition of these two properties.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to authorize the transfer. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call,
I
please.
think Dave had.
I'm sorry, Alderman Dorset, I'm sorry.
Yeah, generally, I'm not in favor of this sort of movement, but this is an important piece of the rehabilitation grant that's, we understand the shortcomings in this, and so it's a very, very useful way of going about this. So.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Already hearing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Dorset.
Aye.
Katz. Wynn.
Recuse.
Moon.
Aye.
Shu.
Aye.
Vajezi.
Aye.
Shabazz.
Aye.
6.
Motion carried, thank you. Item number 11, consideration to authorize the downtown facade grant applications for the following locations at 26 West Side Square, 30 West Side Square, 25 East Side Square, 125 North Randolph Street, 129 South Randolph Street, 9 East Side Square, and 127 North Randolph Street. There's a memorandum in your packet from the Marketing and Downtown Development Director, Ms. Ballard, and she is here to go over what we're proposing tonight. Savannah?
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to direct your attention here to a little chart that I have, and I will make one little comment on there. The address for, one second here, let me pull it up.
129 South Lafayette.
Yes, absolutely. So the address should be 129 South Lafayette Street, not Randolph Street. That was my correction on there. We have it correct in our chart here, but unfortunately I had it wrong in that little memo there. But we are going to be looking at 7 of the 8 grant facade applications that we received. 7 of those met those minimum requirements for the facade grant. And in there, I have some photos of what those properties, their current conditions, so we can kind of get an idea of what those are looking like and the opportunity for improvement for those projects. So again, just moving through those, 26 West Side Square, 30 West Side Square, 25 East Side Square, 125 North Lafayette Street, 129 South Lafayette Street, 9 East Side Square, and 27 North Randolph Street.
Any questions for Ms. Ballard regarding what we're proposing? And there is a companion to item number 11 and item number 12. Do you want to talk about that too, Miranda, Savannah, while we're here?
Yes, absolutely. So with the $50,000 that we had allotted for this project, we would be able to completely fund 4 of those projects. And in our next item here, we would be asking for an additional $25,000 in funds from that East TIF fund to be able to fully fund. And when I say fully fund, I mean that 2/3 portion of the project, being able to honor that for all 7 of those projects.
Very good. Any questions or discussion from Ms. Ballard regarding what we're proposing to do here? In other words, we have all 7 of these applications that have been reviewed and approved by the Historic Preservation Commission, and that
That's in process.
most of them, not all of them, but part of this would be contingent upon that approval. We'd like to go ahead and fund all of them, and therefore that's the basis for item number 12, where a $25,000 transfer from the TIF, Downtown East Side TIF, would help facilitate that, since the applications have good review, they're likely to pass the HPC process, and as you all know, things are not getting any less expensive. So this did go in front of the Community Development Committee meeting, both these items, and they had a recommendation to proceed. With that in mind, any questions, discussion by the council? We would entertain a motion first on item number 12, which was to transfer funds from the Downtown East Side TIF for the downtown facade grant to complete the 2/3 funding for those approved applications in the amount of $25,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and second to approve. Any discussion on that item? Excuse me. Alderman Moon?
What does that leave the balance in the fund you're transferring that out of?
Mr. Coker, I think, has that answer.
Sure. So in the downtown East Side TIF, which is a relatively new fund, we're expecting around $300,000 to come into that fund, and you just approved $100,000 for the previous item, and then 25 for this. So we'll have $175,000 at least.
So we have that money, or this is anticipated
Nope,
money?
it's been received.
It's in the bank and, okay.
It's from tax receipts this year.
And reminder that those are due later this week. Good question, though, Dennis. Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Wynn,
Recuse?
Moon,
Aye.
Shu,
Aye.
Vajezi,
Aye.
Shabazz,
Aye.
Dorset,
Aye.
Katz,
Aye.
6.
Motion carried. Thank you. Then on the item number 11, if we could have a motion to approve those applications as enumerated in the agenda.
Motion to approve those downtown facade grant applications.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve those. Any discussion? Alderman Dorset.
The only thing I want to bring up is, and I brought this up during the community development discussion, 125 North Randolph Street, which I don't want to single anybody out except for they are a building that is coated with what is called exterior insulation finishing system, or drive it. And I would like for us to review going forward whether or not we want to continue to allow that in the historic district, because at no point can that be considered historic in our buildings.
All right, thank you. We will note that and have it on in a future agenda item. Any further discussion then? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Katz,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
Moon,
Aye.
Shu,
Aye.
Vajezi,
Aye.
Shabazz,
Aye.
Dorset,
Aye.
all ayes.
Motion carried, thank you. Item number 13 is consideration to authorize the city of Macomb to make a reapplication for Safe Streets for All grant in the amount of, with a $50,000 match. There's a memorandum in your packet from the grant writer coordinator, Ms. Bidenstadt. Jessica, can you go over what we're proposing to do here, please?
Of course. Good evening. I am here to update you on our efforts to reapply for the State Safe Streets for All grant program. This grant is from the U.S. Department of Transportation and is a crucial opportunity for us to enhance safety and accessibility for all transportation modes within Macomb, whether it's for pedestrians, cyclists, or motorists. Earlier this year, on April 30th, the Community Development Committee approved our initial application for consideration. The City Council further approved this on May 6th. Unfortunately, we were not selected in the first round, but were given the opportunity to reapply. We have done so and are still seeking the $250,000 from the SS4A program, with 80% of this funded by the grant itself. I am pleased to report that the required 20% match of the $50,000 is already included within our city budget, so we are financially prepared to move forward should we be awarded. A key component of our proposal continues to be the demonstration project aimed at improving bike lane visibility on Carroll and Washington streets. This involves temporarily enhancing existing bike lanes with more visible green paint and better signage. The goal here is to collect data on safety improvements and gauge public perception to determine the feasibility of permanent upgrades. This initiative is aligned with our commitment to reduce roadway fatalities and serious injuries to zero, a goal we all share. Our Macomb Street Safety Plan is a comprehensive approach that involves collaboration across city departments, community members, and local advocacy groups. We will be encouraging public participation in this process by attending meetings, completing surveys, and engaging in workshops. Thank you.
Any questions for Jessica regarding what we're proposing to do? Alderman Moon.
I'm not very well informed about this subject yet, but so we're just going to designate a lane for bicycles.
We currently have those on.
We have that.
Yes. And so
But
these would be, I'm sorry.
But the only thing that there's nothing that prevents a car or vehicle from moving into that lane and.
Correct. Yes, so the new paints would be a bright green color, and then there would be signs posted. So then,
Well, I understand all that, but I've never seen one of them stop a vehicle that was headed in the wrong direction.
Well, the chief is here. We can remind him of that.
Well, but I mean, it happens.
Yes, sir, it does.
And it's probably something we can't afford to do and probably, but to me, there should be a designated area that separates them, that you can't just wander over and get into that lane.
So I'll comment a little bit more on this. So before John left, and we're continuing to work on this, we are working on grant proposals to do a designated bike path around the city, in addition to the on-street bike paths. So we're looking at several options to improve that. So, yes.
When you say around the city, what are we?
So it completely circuiting the city. So along University Drive, down Walton Avenue. I mean, we have a whole map laid out. So we've been working on that, and it is very expensive. So there are some of these grants that are in $5 million is what we may apply for to do that circuitous.
What would our match be on something that?
It would be a large match. So we are looking for every potential revenue source that we can to do something like that. But like you said, anything to separate from traffic is going to be very expensive. So we're doing piecemeal like we can, like along Ward Street as part of larger projects. But at some point we need to look at a bigger project just for bike paths or multi-use paths, I should say.
That would be, I think, in line with what you're suggesting, Dennis, is where there's a designated area off-street that is not going to be conflicted with vehicle traffic where somebody may get hit and would be much safer for those bicyclists to be utilizing. And part of what I think you have in mind, Jessica, going forward, I don't mean to speak for you, but is that search out those grants for planning and actually implementing those with as little of cost that we would have as possible. There's no doubt there will be some matching going forward, but that's part of this process going forward.
Thank you.
You bet. Alderman Dorsett.
Yeah, just for the record, when I first bought a bike shop back in the late 80s, we were trying to put together some sort of vehicular flow that would work with both pedestrians and bicyclists and cars. And that's been butting up against various and sundry costs and changes in guidelines ever since those days. So the fact that we've even been able to get these small steps forward, like the bike lanes that we've got now, and the upgrades to those that this calls for, is just a part of a long slog that, frankly, government requires.
Some of this was born out of our Thriving Cities visit to DC last, is that November?
Last fall.
Last November, and where we set the stage to make those inroads with those agencies at the federal government that can most likely make this come to pass. So we'll move forward as we can, and this is one of those steps in that right direction. And I'm sorry, did we have a motion in a second?
No, sir.
Appreciate the conversation. A motion and a second to authorize the city to make this reapplication.
Motion to authorize City of Macomb to make reapplication for Safe Streets for All grant for $50,000 match.
Second.
Been moved and second to authorize the application. Any discussion?
Just a little clarification
sir.
on what this is for. This is for planning.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Anything else? Already hearing nothing, no further discussion. A roll call, please.
Moon,
Aye.
Shu,
Aye.
Vajezi,
Aye.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Katz.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 14, consideration to authorize the awarding of a bid for HVAC replacement from the Macomb Police Department to Arnold Brothers Heating and Cooling in the amount of $40,183. There's a bid tab attached, and the chief is here to go over that and how we got to this point.
Good afternoon. We would request awarding the bid to Arnold Brothers Heating and Cooling. They were the lowest bid at $40,183. This would be to replace the HVAC system at the PD, which is old. It's original to the building. I talked last time that it was coming into some service-related issues. And we do have $80,000 budgeted for the project, so I like that it was well under. There was also an included $125 an hour rate to balance the duct system with 911 center and all that. So.
Okay, very good. We entertain a motion to award the bid to Arnold Brothers at the amount of $40,183.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any questions for the chief? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Shu,
Aye.
Vajezi.
Aye.
Shabazz. Dorset.
Aye.
Katz.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Moon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, and thank you, chief. Item number 15, there was an addendum to this a little bit. We'd ask for your consideration to accept with regret the resignations of both Janetta Thorpe and Sam Parker from the Historic Preservation Committee.
Motion to accept the regret with regret the resignation of Janetta Thorpe and Sam Parker.
Second.
Any discussion? There, we do have another item on the agenda regarding Ms. Thorpe. But Mr. Parker, we would thank him for his many years of dedicated service on the HPC. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Committee reports this evening, any? Hearing none. Aldermanic reports. Alderman Moon.
No report.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Nguyen.
No report.
Thank you. Ms. Katz.
No report.
Thank you. Alderman Dorset.
Just want to apologize to my constituents. I will be unable to attend next week's meeting because of a prior commitment. I'm having a 30th anniversary, and my wife would like to redo our vows, and she doesn't ask for much, so I guess I'm going to go along with it. So.
I think that's a good answer.
A lot you go do that.
Well, we'll note that what is maybe like the third time in all your years of service you've missed a meeting?
3 out of 15.
Okay, very good.
Years.
Thank you. Alderman Shabazz.
Good evening. Yes, would like to thank everyone that helped support my foundation's golf outing last weekend. Though small, was successful, and we had a great time. And just want to thank all the people who was able to come out, and even if you weren't, if you supported, thank you. Thank you very much. We had a great time.
Very good. Thank you. Alderman Vajezi.
A couple quick things. First one, I know there's a lot of students back. Just a quick PSA to remember, if you have trash cans out there, remember to bring them in. I've had some comments from people in my ward to remember to bring your trash cans. Second one, this weekend is a very fun-filled weekend. We have the balloon rally, Arts, Wind, and Fire, Friday and Saturday. Also, the Gazebo Arts Festival on Saturday. So when people say there's nothing to do in Macomb, there's tons to do in Macomb. So hopefully we'll see a lot of people out at the balloon rally at WIU and also at Chandler Park for the Gazebo Arts Festival.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Alderman Chu.
I just want to take the opportunity to thank many individuals and entities who did welcome events for students over the past couple weeks, and particularly lift up all involved with the downtown block party. I think it was a big success.
Glad to have them back. Madam Clerk, anything?
No, sir.
Ms. Scalf? Mr. Coker?
Yes, I have a list.
Okay.
Please, sir.
You haven't done anything on that.
Well, you know.
Just kidding.
So Miranda would like me to remind everyone about the special census that's coming. So in the a couple of our wards, mainly in the northeast and northwest and Georgetown. So if you get a card, I think is the first of. Come on up, Miranda. It's a letter. It's a letter. You have a letter. You've received a letter. You get another one.
So the special census has actually already started. So last week, those who are part of the blocks that they'll be recounting, they've sent out flyers, so people will want to fill out that information. Again, it's not a scam. I know we typically do census every decade, but because we're doing a special census, they're sending those out, and self-reporting will go until the end of this month. So some other reminders will go out there. So again, please, if you do get that or know somebody who lives in that area, let them know to fill that out. And then in the month of October, we're going to have census field representatives. So if people see individuals going to others' doors, it's because they're assisting with census.
And we should look for those folks to have proper ID when they start showing up, and no question as to who they would be.
Correct. They'll have an ID that states they're with the census. And if somebody's not home during that time, they're going to actually leave door tags with a contact number so that this way they can still assist them with the steps for filling out their census.
And the website for applying to be a census taker is up until 11:59 this evening, as my sources have told me.
And they have upped the starting pay, pay for the field representatives from $16.25 an hour to $19 an hour. So a great job for those looking for some temporary work for the holiday season.
Very good. Thanks, Miranda. I'm sorry, Mr. Coker. Go ahead, sir.
Sure. She said it much better than I could have. I just wanted to thank you, all of our staff that are here tonight, and all the great work they've done, from Brad improving his facilities. It's a great thing. Miranda doing the demos, getting rid of some old houses. Savannah with the facade stuff downtown, making our downtown look great. And Jeff improving his facility, and Jessica with grants. So thank you for them.
Very good. I would just double down on what Alderman Vajezi spoke about. 6 p.m. Friday night, things kick off at Vince Grady Field for the balloon rally, and it's a weekend of events in town. So please, please, please go out and enjoy. Council, I'd ask for your concurrence and to appoint Ms. Janetta Thorpe to the Planning Commission, and after I get a motion in a second, I'll explain a little more there.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. So Ms. Thorpe, due to some commitments, was not able to fulfill her role at the Historic Preservation Committee, mainly because of the time that it met. She was much more open and available for the time that the the Planning Commission will be meeting. So we're grateful for her willingness to stay on in a different time slot. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Don't believe we have any more business to come before you this evening. We'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.